Are you looking for the best Bluetooth trackers? In this video we will look at some of the 4 best trackers on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. Samsung Galaxy SmartTag 2. The SmartTag 2 only works with Samsung devices, and after testing one out with a Galaxy S23, I was impressed how quickly it was able to find tagged items out in the wild, though the precision didn't quite match that of Apple. Of all the trackers I've tried, I like the design of the SmartTag the best. It's an oblong fob with a big hole for attaching directly to your keys, or you can buy the optional silicone case and ring Samsung offers. Its volume is louder than the AirTag and the Tile Pro, but not as loud as either the Chipolo One or the Pebblebee clip. You can also change the tag's ringtone or double squeeze it to ring your handset, both things that you can't do with AirTags. Setup is simple as well. Once you remove the plastic pull tab, your phone senses the tracker and walks you through the standard permissions, location services, notifications, and warnings. Don't use the tracker on people. The companion app, SmartThings Find, tracks your Samsung devices and the SmartTag with an intuitive and clean Google Maps-based interface. As for how the tag works in practice, I found the left behind alerts triggered reliably when I got about 3 blocks, 1,200 feet or so, away when walking and about 8 blocks away when driving. That's far longer than Chipolo's alerts, a little longer than Apple's notifications, and about on par with Tile's left behind feature. When the tag is out of range and you enable lost mode, you'll get an alert when it's spotted by another Samsung phone. The tag also uses NFC to display your contact info and a custom note to anyone who finds the tracker, regardless of the brand of smartphone they carry. Of course, whoever finds it would need to know to hold it to the back of their phone to get the message, and it was harder to trigger with my iPhone when the tag was in the silicone holder. To test the finding network, I asked a friend, without a phone in their pocket, to wander a half-mile away with the tag. About 12 minutes after turning on lost mode, I got a message that the SmartTag was spotted by a nearby device with a dropped pin. I tapped Navigate in the app, which opened Google Maps and led me to a point directly across a moderately busy street from where my friend was standing. If I'd left the tag behind somewhere I'd recently been, just seeing the location on the map would have been enough to jog my memory as to where I might have dropped my stuff. But if someone had stolen the tagged item and I was wandering the streets trying to get it back, vigilante style, it may not have been precise enough to help. It may not be as accurate as the iPhone and AirTag combo, but the SmartTag 2 is a solid entry in the Bluetooth tracker market and a good option if you have a Samsung phone. At number 2. Pebblebee Clip Universal. Pebblebee may have landed on the best design of all trackers out there. The Clip Universal feels the sturdiest, with a strong metal ring encircling the fob. Built-in lights help you locate lost items in the dark, and it's one of the few fobs that can be recharged, in this case, using a standard USB-C port. I like that the packaging is entirely plastic-free, though I wish it didn't come with a cable, because really, who among us doesn't have a surfeit of USB-C cords at this point? But the included metal carabiner key ring is a welcome addition. Like our top pick, the Chipolo Pop, the Clip Universal is a universal option, working with either Google or Apple's finding networks, and, in the tests where I hid the fob out in the city, the respective apps accurately led me close enough to the tracker to ring it. In tests around the house and in my garage, my tester phones didn't connect to the clip quite as quickly as they did to the Chipolo Pop. In one iPhone test, my helper planted the clip near a moderately trafficked bakery and I didn't get a ping for over a half hour, which is far longer than any other Find My Network test I'd conducted. Tests using an Android phone produced a connection to the Find Hub network at about the same speed as other fobs I tried, but I wasn't always sent a notification. Instead, I had to check the Find Hub app to see it had been spotted. One common complaint about AirTags is that they aren't loud enough. If you want a tracker that's ear-shatteringly loud, the Clip delivers. My phone's decibel meter app clocked it at 91 dB, a level that can cause hearing damage if you're exposed to it for too long. Paired with the flashing lights, it's one of the easiest trackers to find. Setup wasn't as automatic as it was with the Chipolo Pop. I had to manually add the clip, which wasn't terribly difficult, though having the old Pebblebee app, Pebblebee Tracking, on my iPhone triggered a prompt to download the new app, simply called Pebblebee. The company recommends downloading its proprietary app in order to keep the tracker's firmware updated and to unlock its full potential. But other than the ability to rename the fob or remove it, I didn't see any additional features. The app does support one unique feature, however, with link labels. These are stickers with a unique QR code that you can claim and name in the app, then stick to whatever you'd like, a water bottle, hat, sunglasses case, and so on. If someone finds the labeled item and scans the code, you'll immediately get a notification from the Pebblebee app that it was scanned. The person who finds it is taken to a website where they can choose to send you the location of the item, a message, and/or a picture. No contact details are shared to keep things more secure. I didn't test the feature extensively, as it's a little outside the purview of this guide, but it could be a simple and clever way to keep track of stuff you don't want to stick a tracker on. A couple of connection blips during testing and the lack of extra features, like Ring My Phone and the lack of Android left behind alerts, put it behind the Chipolo Pop, but if you like the idea of recharging your tracker over throwing away batteries and want a compatible, and loud, tracker with a sturdy design, the Chip Universal is a good option. It's worth noting that in June, the Pebblebee added personal safety features to the Universal fob. It's a free feature you can use after a software update and works with the Clip Universal. When you squeeze the tag 5 times, it triggers a loud siren, bright flashes from the LED light and sends a notification to the people you designate within the Pebblebee app. At number 3. Apple AirTag. AirTags work with iOS Find My app and are registered to your Apple ID, so they don't require any additional downloads. If you've used the Find My app before, you'll likely understand how this works. These are the quietest of the trackers we tested, and each time you press the play sound button, the tags only ring for 7 seconds. You'll need to keep pressing if you don't find your item right away, and AirTags can't be used to ring your phone. As for separation alerts, AirTags were consistent, always delivering a left behind alert when I traveled about 1,200 feet away, or about 3 square blocks, without an item. You can turn off separation alerts for any given tracker, as well as designate certain locations, such as your home or workplace, as exceptions for the notifications. One feature that AirTags have that no other tag offers is the ability to tap into the ultra-wideband (UWB) wireless protocol. This allows you to play a fun game of hot and cold with an item when it's within about 25 feet of your iPhone. Directional arrows and a diminishing distance meter on your iPhone screen point you to an item without having to ring it. This worked reliably about 75% of the time in my tests. Sometimes it was just easier to ring the item when the directional finding couldn't keep a lock on the tracker. UWB is supported by iPhone models 11 and later, and while newer Galaxy and Pixel phones also support UWB, no Android-compatible tracker has yet been released. In 2021, Tile announced one that would, but has since missed its promised release window of early 2022. AirTag's ability to locate a lost item out in the city is almost eerie. I had someone, who was not carrying an iPhone, take my bike with a tracker hidden under the seat to a location a little over a half-mile away. I set out a few minutes later and toggled on Notify when found in the Find My app. Within 3 minutes, I received a notification that the bike had been seen near an address. Tapping on directions navigates to Apple Maps, which took me to a spot about 30 feet from the bike. Had it been obscured from view, I could have then used the Find Nearby button to activate the UWB locating features. Ringing the tag was too quiet to hear on the sidewalk. Both the Chipolo Pop and the Pebblebee Clip Universal will work with Apple's Find My network, giving you the same eerily accurate finding capabilities. The Pop goes for the same $29 as the AirTag, and the Clip Universal goes for $35, but the former is rechargeable and adds lights to the mix. Both have built-in holes for easier attachment and both ring louder than the AirTags. That said, AirTags are still the gold standard for iPhone users and remain our top pick for iOS devotees. At number 4. Chipolo Pop. Chipolo's previous fob, the Chipolo One, was our top pick for a couple years. The release of Samsung's latest tag, new Tile trackers and other tags compatible with Google's Finding Network didn't manage to nudge it from its throne. The Chipolo Pop came out in early 2025, and it not only retains all the features we loved about the original tracker, but it also solved our one complaint about the previous model, Chipolo's limited Finding Network. The Pop tracker taps into either Google's Find Hub or Apple's Find My network, calling on every nearby Android or iPhone, respectively, to anonymously ping a lost tracker for accurate finding. Not only does it have some considerable lost in the wild chops, it's also louder than an AirTag, can make your phone ring, has 12 different ringtones, comes in cute colors and, notably, has a dang hole unlike Apple's slippery accessory requiring Pebble. It only works with one network at a time, but it's easy to remove a device that's connected to, say, an iPhone and then pair it up with a Galaxy handset. Setup was dead simple and fast. For both the iOS and Android tests, just bringing the Pop close to the phone triggered a prompt to pair it. Chipolo's tag is no longer the loudest tracker we tested. Pebblebee's Clip Universal holds that honor, but you won't struggle to hear it, and it has 12 optional ringtones, including 3 that are holiday-themed. Neither Apple AirTags nor third-party trackers working with Google's Find Hub will let you ring your phone by squeezing the fob, but Chipolo Pop will. You'll have to install the Chipolo app and give it permission to run in the background. Doing so didn't drastically drain either my iPhone or Android phone battery. The feature worked reliably in my tests and was highly appreciated, as my keys tend to stay put when I'm home, but my iPhone likes to roam around the house like a bored house cat. iPhone users who walk away from an item tagged with the Find My network will get an alert before they get too far away, usually a couple blocks, but Google's Finding network has no similar ability. The Chipolo app enables left behind separation alerts when using an Android phone. In my tests I got about 400 feet away from my stuff before getting a notification I'd forgotten something. That's actually faster than AirTag's notification and far quicker than Tile's. Alerts were consistent whether I was forgetting an item at home, at a coffee shop or inside my car. As far as losing stuff out in the wild, the Pop paired with Apple's Find My network possesses the same spooky accuracy as an AirTag. In my iPhone test, I had a friend hide the tag about 4 blocks away from me next to a relatively busy coffee shop. Once they told me the tag had been stashed, I went to the Find My app to turn on the lost item feature, but no need, the Finding network had already located it. I tapped to follow directions in Apple Maps and was taken within about 2 feet from the bush where it was hidden. Like my AirTags tests, I was both impressed with and slightly unnerved by the accuracy. The finding skills that rely on the Android network were also impressive. Once the Pop was hidden, I marked it as lost and got a ping that it had been spotted about 6 minutes later. Again, the directions led me close enough to ring the tracker that I could find it. Most people won't need to rely on the Finding network on a regular basis, which is why it's important that Chipolo's everyday locating abilities work well, too. Tapping the play sound function on either an Android or iPhone made the tag chirp almost instantly, and it was able to connect to nearby tags from further away than models from other brands.